Francisco Paulino Hermenegildo Teodulo Franco Bamonde, better known as Francisco Franco, was born in northern Spain, Galicia, specifically in El Ferrol. His father was an officer in the Spanish Naval Administrative Corps. Therefore, when he was of age, he had to present an admission in the naval as well. But because of reductions of admissions, he chose to enlist in the army, where he started his training in the Academy of Toledo at age of 14, graduating 3 years later. He started in the colonial campaigns of Morocco in 1912. From there, he started to rise in power, achieving a lot of high and important job positions, such as becoming the youngest captain in 1915. He was distinguished for his fearlessness, professionalism, and frivolous amusements. He was in the military from 1912 till 1926, when his role in the Moroccan Rebellion earned him an appointment as general, which gave him the title for the youngest man earning that position, only with 33 years old. After the fall of the monarchy in 1931, the new Spanish Republic undertook the military, and Franco's career had to be paused for a while. Later on, Franco was put in his original position and was promoted to Major General. Franco had never been a part of the political party, but the growing of the anarchy made him go to the government declaring a state of emergency. But it was refused, and he was sent to command in the Canary Islands. After several time in the Canary Islands, he finally made the choice to join the rebels. On July 18, 1936, the rising began. Because of his ability in the military and to gain assistance from Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, Franco was an obvious choice, and a lot of people supported him. Franco became head of state of the new nationalist regime on October 1, 1936.
Although Francisco Franco, general leading the authoritarian regime, did not have a strong political conviction, his political ideology was based on nationalism because of the help he received from Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party and to Mussolini's fascists during the Civil War. His main goal was to give the power law to the Catholic Church and to maintain a traditional way of life. But what is nationalism? It's an ideology that its main objective is to join a population and to create a policy of national independence based on a common sentiment or cultural characteristics. As it previously mentioned, he made huge decisions in favor of the Catholic Church. He established policies that gave to the Church the dominant position, and it became the official religion of Spain. He also banished the Basque and the Catalan languages, as well as the regional governmental bodies. As for the economy, Francisco's rule did not allow Spain to join the European Union because of the political unacceptance of the regime. But later on, Spain benefited of an agreement with US. This improved Spain's economy and recognizes Franco's regime by Spain becoming a United Nations member in 1955.
The participation of Spain during World War II was not very active. Francisco Franco became the ruler of Spain before the beginning of this war. When the Spanish Civil War was won by him, his cruel actions toward the enemies and other people were noticed by Adolf Hitler. So he invited Spain to be part of the Axis alliance. Later on, in 1940, Hitler rebuffed Francisco's conditions. After this, Franco decided to maintain Spain as a neutral country in the war. Although Hitler and him met sometimes, and Franco sent 5,000 volunteers to fight along the Germans. So these actions were not forgotten at the end of the war. In 1946, the United Nations ostracized Spain, and it brought economic problems to the country as well as consequences of the Cold War. A year later, in 1947, Franco pronounced Spain as a monarchy, through a new constitution with him as a regent and the power to proclaim his successor.
Because of the death of José San Giorgio in July of 1936, he was named head of government by Hitler, and later on, was publicly proclaimed as Generalissimo of the fascist army head of state. He got the support of France, America, and Britain, since the Nationalists won the Civil War in 1939 when Madrid surrendered to Franco's authority. But his most difficult period started in 1940 when he declined Hitler's request to join the Axis army in World War II, and he was later affected when his government was ostracized by the newly formed United Nations, and he was viewed as an anti-communist statesman. His policies became more liberal during the 1950s and 60s, but opposition occurred and students protested about a lack of personal freedom. His image changed from a rigorous generalissimo to a more being civilian. Later on, Franco's health declined and he left Spain affairs tied with Juan Carlos. He died in 1975 and Juan Carlos took his place and began to dismantle Franco's system, although Spain had made a great progress in economy during his regime, and within 3 years of his death, Spain became a democratic monarchy.
Francisco Franco was known for his atrocities and how the population was mistreated under his regime, in an economic and personal way. One of the most astonishing examples of the inhuman treatment and the bad conditions were the progression of the problems after the Spanish Civil War. After this event started by a non-conformity of the masses against the regime of Franco, he created concentration camps where the defeated and the non-affected by his regime were divided. The defeated remained in the concentration camps and the non-affected were sent to jail or were fusilated. Also, for Franco, it was important to maintain the divisions between the defeated and the victorious. For this, the Catholic Church got involved and exiled in an external and internal way the anti-Franquist. Here we have defined examples of the rights that were violated. For example, right number 3, the right to live and life. We have the right to live and freedom and have safety. Article 9, no unfair detainment. Nobody can put you in prison without a good reason. Article 15, right to a nationality. We all have the right to belong to a country. Article 21, the right to a democracy. We all have the right to have a voice in the fate of the government of our country. Right number 28, fair and free world. Proper order so that the rights and freedom could be enjoyed by all of us.